Hello, this is Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech number 46. I'm looking at 5 ways to improve the modern format. As many of you know, we just recently finished the Modern Pro Tour qualifier season. So people who wanted to make it to the Pro Tour needed to win a Modern event. These events were much larger than last year's Modern events and definitely brought in a lot of new players to the Modern format. There was also another big change though, and this is one of the most worrisome or areas that needs significant improvement. Wizards added Modern as a Friday Night Magic format. What does that mean? That means that several stores, at least once a month, are running Modern tournaments on Friday nights. This opens the format up to a lot more players, which I think is generally good, but a lot of players are not prepared to play in this very competitive, complex format, and there's a lot of things that could be done to make this format more accessible, and that's what this video focuses on. First thing we've already heard about, which is reprinting the heroes. So far we've seen that Tarmogoyf is going to be coming back out, although at a mythic level, which means that he's still going to be extremely rare and extremely important to have. But for this reprint of Modern Masters to be successful, we need to see the top cards from each of the different competitive decks. Any of those decks that get left out, those cards will easily double in price and make the format inaccessible. But beyond basic reprints, there's other things that we can do. We need to continue to add new cards to the environment that directly affect Modern. Cards like Abrupt Decay, Deathrite Shaman, Vexing Devil, and Cavern of Souls are having a huge impact on the Modern environment, and that's the type of card we need to see from new sets over time. Number 3 here, we also need to make sure that non-interactive combo decks are dead and stay dead. I know that Eggs won the last Pro Tour and really hasn't had much done to it, but it's the type of deck that your casual player and your observer really hate to watch. Storm is in that same basic category, with Pyromancer's Ascension making the deck still pretty strong. I would consider banning some of these things. There are a number of combo decks out there, such as Niv Magus Elemental, or the current version of Affinity, or even Infect, which, although I don't like playing against them, at least have the interactive aspects of making the combo player play creatures and attack, which makes the game much better overall, both from a viewing perspective and from a playing perspective. Nobody likes to sit around and watch their opponent slowly but surely beat them for 15 minutes while doing a series of repetitive tasks, but many people at least like the opportunity to interact with amazingly fast creatures, forcing them to put removal into decks. If we're going to keep this format exciting to casual players and to new players, combo cannot reign supreme. If combo gets too over the top, we need to look at adding Force of Will. But at this point, in looking back at this last year, I don't think we need to add Force of Will yet. Now, the number 2 thing that we really need to do here is add some premium versions of some of the premier cards. When individuals go to a Legacy tournament, it's really nice to see those black border, foreign, dual lands, or even alpha and beta lands, things that individuals can put their time and effort into collecting and make their deck really special. We've got a lot of heroes currently in the Modern environment that could easily have a limited edition version of those cards printed. Deathrite Shaman is quickly becoming a staple in Modern and in Legacy. Liliana the Veil has to be the best planeswalker in the environment, closely followed by Karn Liberated. And Geist of St. Traft is just an amazing card also. But the decks look a lot like your standard decks at this point. It would be nice to see a From the Vault or Arsenal or small print run set that included limited edition versions of these, maybe even textless versions or judge promos. I know that I wasn't a fan of the distribution of Arsenal, but some other type of limited distribution for these cards would be really nice. Also, we're missing Jace the Mind Sculptor in the environment. Now, I'm not suggesting that we unban Jace. What we need is a modern, playable Jace, a balanced Jace. Jace is one of the heroes of the Magic environment, and anything that we can do to bring in that Planeswalker into the environment I believe would be celebrated by players as long as he's not overpowered the way that the Mind Sculptor was. Even following these first 4 ideas, I don't think the environment itself is going to be amenable to new players or Friday Night Magic players. There's one big change that I'm advocating for here that I know is essential to making this an accessible format to individuals who show up at Friday Night Magic, and that's adding modern event decks. I've seen many people show up at more than one of my local stores on a Friday night expecting to play Standard and being shocked that the environment was modern. Yes, they could play their Standard deck, but their Standard deck simply gets blown out of the water 3 to 4 rounds in a row. A modern event deck would give people a very low price point as a buy-in, some access to maybe the overpriced fetch lands currently, and allow them to compete in this new environment. I could easily see a Zoo or a Boros type deck in Modern, or more of a Slippery Wool enchantment deck that could be constructed for not that much money and also be extremely competitive. And the event deck gives somebody a way to jump into this platform at a low cost. Thanks, this has been Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech, looking at ways to improve Modern. How's a promo? Just imagine.